Good morning, friends. This is your commerce teacher Suresh from Government Degree College, Kukatpalli. Today, we will learn about the discharging of contract. We are all conversant with the basic fact that contractual relation is very volatile. One day or the other, it has to come to an end. So, the natural way of discharging contractual relationship is by performing the contract. But sometimes contract can also be discharged without performing it. So, that confusion can be mitigated once we understand different modes of discharging contract. So, there are 6 different modes of discharging contract, namely by performance, by mutual agreement, by impossibility of performance, by lapse of time, by operation of law, and by breach of contract. So let us explore these 6 different modes of discharging contract in detail now. So the most commonest form of discharging contract is by performance. We all know from section 37, 38 and 51 that it is the fundamental duty of the parties to contract to perform the contractual obligations vested on their shoulders by virtue of the agreement or contract. Or at least they should tender performance. They should make an attempt to perform so that one party will be willing to perform and the other party may not accept such performance. The contracts get discharged. Of course, without valid reason, if the party is refusing your performance tender, it is a revocation of contract and attracts penalties. That is different thing altogether, which we learn in the next chapter. But as of now, we have to remember that if both the parties to contract are duly performing their obligations, so contractual relations shall be discharged without any litigations therein. But once one party is attempting to perform and the other party is not accepting the performance without valid reason, also the contract shall stand discharged. Clear? So, the next mode of discharging contract is by mutual agreement. Let us see what are the ways in which parties can mutually agree to discharge the contract. There are 6 different ways in which parties can mutually agree to discharge the existing contract between them. One is novation. Novation, according to section 62, is the process of replacing old contract with a new contract altogether. Obviously, once you replace the old contract with new one, the old contract stands discharged. Remission. Remission is the case in which lesser performance is accepted by one party. Suppose your promisee comes to you and plead that I cannot perform the promise or quantum of promise which I owe to you by virtue of agreement. I am in a position to tender lesser performance. And you are so kind-hearted and accepting the lesser performance. Naturally, the older performance, the actual performance obligation stands discharged. Rescission of the contract. Here, rescission means not your economic rescission. Rescission has got different meanings or dichotomous notions in English. Here, rescission also implies cancellation of contract. So, once both the parties to contract decide to cancel it, naturally, contract shall be discharged. Usually, rescission is used to cancel the contract when it is subjected to voidable nature, wherein aggrieved party will be given liberty either to go ahead with the contract or to cancel the contract. So once the aggrieved party in voidable contract resigned the contract, that means cancel the contract, it is said to be discharged. Alteration of the contract. Once the terms and conditions of the agreement are changed, you have to reconstitute an agreement, or you have to draft an agreement afresh, because alterations in the existing draft will not be permitted. Right? Waiver. Waiver means excusing someone from performance. So your promisee came to you and plead that I cannot perform. And you are so kind-hearted that you want to waive his performance. Naturally, the contract existing with you and between you and your promisee shall be discharged. Merger. Merger is the process of clubbing or conglomerating two or more agreements into a single contract. Naturally, those two or more contracts which are conglomerated into a single agreement shall be discharged. Suppose I have given you two checks for two transactions, one check for 10,000 and another check for rupees 20,000. There are two transactions or two contracts in our language. And I came to you and said, no, please cancel those two checks. I will give you a single check for 30,000 rupees. That means the previous two transactions or two contracts will be cancelled or discharged because they are merged into a single contract. Clear? So these are 6 different ways in which parties can mutually agree to cancel or discharge the contracts. Novation, replacing the old contract with new one. Remission, accepting lesser performance. Rescission, cancellation of the contract, especially voidable contract. Alteration, change in terms and conditions of the agreement. Waiver, excusing someone from performance. Merger, conglomeration of two or more contracts into a single agreement. Clear? The next mode of discharging contract is by impossibility of performance. If performance is known to be impossible at the beginning itself, that means both the parties to contract knew that it is impossible to perform and yet they have entered into an agreement. Is it a valid contract? No, it is a wagering agreement, a mere betting agreement, and stands invalid from the beginning. That means void ab initio. So no question of discharging it again. But the problem is with supervening impossibility. What is supervening impossibility? An act which is capable of performance at the beginning but turns to be impossible to perform at a future date. It is called supervening impossibility. Section 56 of Indian Contract Act laid down certain provisions with respect to discharge the contract when it is subjected to supervening impossibility. See, all the times supervening impossibility is not a valid excuse to discharge the contract. Though you discharge it, it may attract some penalties. So let us see when it is a valid excuse and when it is not a valid excuse. Number 1, destruction of subject matter. That means the subject matter on which the contract is to be performed is physically destroyed. Naturally, it's a valid excuse to discharge the contract because it's impossible to perform on it once it is destroyed. Death or incapacity of the person, right? So we all know that from section 40 that parties themselves should perform the contract. If the party to contract is died or deceased, his legal heir can be held liable only to the extent of the property inherited to such legal heir by the deceased party. Right? And moreover, we also learnt in the previous chapter that the legal heirs cannot be held liable to perform the contract if such performance pertains to the exhibition of personal skill and competency. So subjected to these two conditions, the death of party to contract is a valid excuse to discharge it. Incapacity of person. Other incapacities like suddenly the party may get convicted. He may become an insolvent. He may become unsound-minded person. He might be promoted as a foreign ambassador on behalf of his country. So these circumstances make him incapable to perform the contract. So any existing contract with him will be discharged. Outbreak of war, it should be, I'm sorry, it is mistyped as outbreak of law. So if there is any outbreak of war between two countries, the contracts existing between the parties of those two nations shall be discharged. I once again plead my apology that it is mistyped as law. It should be outbreak of war. Next, not a valid excuse. Difficulty in performance. Suppose I gave 1 lakh rupees of advance to Asian Paints company or to his dealer to paint my house. After doing some work, he says, I'm sorry, sir, it's very difficult for me to perform. Will I keep quiet? Definitely not, because difficulty in performance is not a valid excuse to discharge the contract. If you do like that, I will levy penalty to you, or I will go to court to claim my damages, right? Only death or formal incapacity shall be a valid excuse, but not physical difficult. Failure of third party, right? Suppose I took advance from my customer to supply some goods, right? The process was, or work in progress was there, during which my supplier, who has to give me raw material, did not give it on time. So I went to my customer and said, I can't perform my contract now because my vendor did not supply raw material to me on time. Will he keep quiet? Is it a valid excuse to discharge the contractual obligation? No. If you have poor vendor management system in the company, why should the customer be held liable? Why should the customer be asked to bear the loss? So it's not a valid excuse. Strikes and lockdown. So strike is a legitimate weapon in the hands of workers to retain their bargaining power. These are the common notions we hear from our so-called leaders, isn't it? So no matter whether it is a legitimate weapon or illegitimate weapon, strikes and lockdowns are the obvious consequences of your poor HR management. Why should the customer bear loss for it? Isn't it? So strikes and losses or lockdowns are not valid excuses to discharge the contract. Got the point? So, no doubt it may become impossible to perform your contract due to strikes and lockdowns, failure of third parties, or your physical difficulty. But it is not a valid excuse from absolving yourselves from paying penalty for breach in the contract. Right? Now, the next mode of discharging the contract is by lapse of time. We learnt from section 46, 47, 48 and 55 that lapse of time shall be a mode of discharging contract. What are the provisions we learnt in the previous class? 1. The party to contract must perform his obligation within specified time period if time is so stipulated by the promisor. Section 47 and 48. And what 46 says? The performance need to be tendered within reasonable time if time is not mentioned by the promisor in the contract. So what is reasonable time again differs from case to case. So either you have to perform within specified time period or reasonable time period if time is not stipulated. Otherwise, it is a revocation of contract by virtue of section 55. So any revocation of contract naturally discharges the contractual relation existing between the parties. Clear? Now, the next mode of discharging contract is by operation of law. Insolvency of the parties. Who is an insolvent? A person whose total assets are less than total liabilities, and court declares him as insolvent formally. So, any contract existing with a formal insolvent shall be discharged. Can you declare yourself as an insolvent? No. You have to file a petition in the court. court will decide whether you are an insolvent or financially solvent. That is the reason why it is very apt to discuss this provision under the head discharge of contract by operation of law, because it's the court which has to declare anyone as an insolvent. Change in the existing law. Suppose any change in the law subjected to which your contract is framed, then the contract shall be discharged. Let me give an example to illustrate it better. On 1st May, a liquor company may form a contract with his distributor or with its distributor to supply 1,000 bottles of liquor on 1st June. Right? The liquor company made a promise that it will supply liquor to distributor on 1st June. Meanwhile, that was on 15th May, the state government has imposed prohibition on liquor. So automatically supply of liquor to distributor during the prohibition period shall be illegal. Naturally, the contract existing between the company and distributor shall be discharged. Clear? So, any contract subjected to any specific law and law is changed to discharge the contract or to make the contract invalid is a valid mode to absolve ourselves from contractual liability, right? Outbreak of war. Suppose there is a formal war declared between two countries. The citizens of these two countries shall become allied enemies to each other. Who is an allied enemy? Allied enemy is a person of that country or citizen of that country with which our country formally declares a war. So trading with allied enemy is opposed by public policy. Therefore, any contracts existing between the allied enemies shall stand discharged. Once once war is formally ceased or called off, the old contract can be resumed back or you can reconstitute a new agreement. But during the war, the existing contract shall be discharged. Clear? The last mode of discharging contract is by breach of contract. What is breach of contract? Breach of contract is not performing the obligation or not discharging the obligation. No matter whatever is the intention or whatever is the cause hid behind such revocation, simply not performing the obligation is called breach of contract. There are two types of breach. One is anticipatory breach and another one is actual breach. Anticipatory breach means before the performance is started, that is just agreement is made and you are revoking the contract. It is called anticipatory breach. It can be expressed breach. That means you can express through words spoken or written to other party that we are withdrawing from contract. Implied breach. Implied breach means you are revoking the contract through implied actions. Suppose an agreement is made between the parties and one condition is that the promisee has to deposit some caution amount, that is caution deposit, before beginning the performance. The promisee is not at all coming forward to grant caution deposit or deposit the money towards the caution payment. So it is implied that he is revoking the contract. It's implied breach. Through your actions, you are revoking the contract. So if in the case of anticipatory breach, as contract is not begun yet or performance is not begun yet, the quantum of losses which the other party will sustain will be negligible, right? But the problem is with actual breach of contract. That is at the beginning of performance or during the performance. You started the performance, but immediately you said, sorry, it is not possible for me to perform. It's at the beginning of performance. Quantum of damages will be less. But during the performance, you are halfway done and you are revoking the contract, then the losses sustained by the other party shall be huge in nature. The quantum of losses that have to be compensated will be huge. So what type of losses the other party can claim from you when contract is subjected to revocation or breach? That is our next topic, that is remedy for breach of contract. Clear? So while discharging the contract or understanding the nitty-gritty of discharging contract, we need to remember 6 different modes. One is either by performing the contract or attempted performance. Second, mutual agreement between the parties. It may be a novation, remission, rescission, alteration, waiver, or merger. An act which becomes impossible of performance. Sometimes it may be a valid excuse to discharge contract and sometimes not a valid excuse to discharge the contract. Lapse of time subjected to the provisions of section 46, 47, 48 and 55. Operation of law, and of course finally by breach of contract. These are 6 different modes in which a contract can be discharged. Among all these 6 modes, the most standard form and commonest form is performing the contract. That is, contractual relationship ceases to exist once the performance is completed by both the parties. Right? So, our next topic will be on remedies for breach of contract. Indeed, friends, discharge of contract has got so many practical and live examples with me, but I cannot share them in YouTube videos because this video goes into public, and without any substantial evidence, if I speak, I may be subjected to a legal action. So to avoid those type of menaces, I am not bringing the live examples or the practical cases which I have seen, unless they are printed case laws or unless they are formal judgments given by the court. Right? So for time being, let us take these assignment questions. So please do attempt these questions. What are the usual modes of discharging a contract? You have to give all 6 different modes along with appropriate sections. Second assignment question of this chapter, write a short note on the following. A. Novation. B. Supervening impossibility. And C. Breach of contract. I hope all these topics are duly covered in this chapter. If you have any doubts, please feel free to revert back at 98495 60102 or nsureshnaidu@gmail.com. See you in the next class with another topic, that is remedies for breach of contract. Have a nice day. Bye.